Our next email comes to us from Tony, who lives right here in New York City. How you doing, Tony? Long time no see, pal. And Tony says, well, it's official. Wonder Woman 1984 has its fourth release date from Warner Brothers. Do you think it'll actually hold this release date, or do you envision that a fifth release date is in Wonder Woman's future? So, yeah, if you are not entirely familiar with what Tony is talking about, this comes to us from Variety, and yeah, Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman 1984 movie, this is its fourth release date. Originally, this movie was supposed to come. Let's bring up the article real quick, shall we?
Okay.
Originally, where is it? It's further on down, further on down. Further on down. Okay, so originally the film was supposed to come out on June 5th. And then because of coronavirus, they moved it back to August 14th. And then because of complications due to coronavirus, it moved back to October 2nd, which is what it, up until yesterday, what it was currently supposed to sit at. And now they've pushed it back again to Christmas Day. December 25th, Christmas Day. Wonder Woman 1984 currently will be coming out on Christmas Day. Big question is it going to hold that release date, or are they going to have to push it back? Now, some of the reasons that they've had to push Wonder Woman 1984 back is because of what directly is going on with Tenet. Tenet is a Warner Brothers movie. Wonder Woman is a Warner Brothers movie. And also Dune is a Warner Brothers film. We haven't started talking about Dune yet, but here's what's important about Dune. Dune is, as you know, with Wonder Woman moving to Christmas Day, Dune is set to open 1 week prior to Wonder Woman. Their concerns with opening Wonder Woman in October are thus: if they open in October, Tenet is not performing the way anybody would hope a major blockbuster will perform. This is kind of the experiment in the sand here. I don't know what an experiment in the sand is. That's an analogy I just made up in the moment. But let's just, for sake of conversation, Tenet right now is the experiment in the sand. Nobody knows exactly how the movie is going to do. Currently, it's only made about, and I say only, $150 million, which, I wouldn't mind having $150 million, but taking into consideration, it took $200 million to make the film. 200. And then they have to spend another $200 million to market the movie. Because if you make a movie and nobody knows about it, well, nobody's going to go see it. So now we're up to $400 million. And with, the movie theaters need to get paid. The exhibition places need to get paid. So then you multiply that times 1.5. On average. It's not the rule. It's, an average. It's an approximation. So now we're up to $600 million. Tenet needs to make $600 million, and we haven't even factored in the interest from the banks yet. Because interest keeps compounding, right? Month after month. Especially if you're talking about $200 million, $400 million. So just to break even, Tenet needs to make $600 million just to break even. And they're currently at the worldwide box office, 150. So that's why they've pushed Wonder Woman back. If they keep Wonder Woman in October, it's going to inevitably eat into Tenet's, movie ticket sales.
Right.
So, and I don't want to say it's a risk, but that's an opportunity that they can't take away from Tenet. So that's why they've moved Wonder Woman to Christmas Day. And by doing that, they're also going to have to move Dune. Dune is inevitably going to have to move to 2021. We'd like to think maybe January, but I think, March, April, May. I don't think it's outside of the realm of impossibility to say that Dune might have, a May 2021 release. Paul, what are your thoughts on this? Is it hopeful in that if the studios and if the movies are actually able to make some of the money back by spreading these films out, we get to keep the quality of films? We get to have a Wonder Woman 84. We get to have a Dune. We get to have a Tenet. We get to have a Black Widow. We get to have a James Bond. Oh, Black Widow's number one
Black
for
Widow,
me.
I
Man.
know, I
Number
know,
one for
right?
me. But like, if the movies make their money back, then we can hopefully kind of keep the same level of quality in our films. If they don't make the money back, the quality is going to go down, and the infrequency of the films, or rather, let me invert that. The frequency of the films will go down. So, do you think this is good news that it's being pushed back? Do you think that the studio is being overly cautious? Do you think that we, as a people going to see the films in theaters, are throwing caution to the wind in going to the theaters? Or do you think, as long as everybody kind of keeps their precautions together, that we don't really have much to worry about? What are your thoughts? This is a complicated issue.
I think it's a very complicated issue, and I wanna put a couple of qualifiers around it because I think you've boxed it very nicely. I think the thing I tell people, keep in mind, I am a professional project manager. In my day job, my responsibility was to tell people the software drives the hardware. And I know that's a really oversimplification, but we're at a place in time where people can be pulled out of their homes if there's something they want to see. I think there's a risk. Of course, there's a risk. But at the same time, they're desperate. I think if I'm a film industry, I'm looking, when do I put this out so that it draws people in? And when do I do that where it's good and a helpful thing and not a hindrance or a hurtful thing? And so I think you balance that in the can, sitting on a shelf, the film's value may or may not go up.
Correct.
Right? It may just sit. And so if you can say, I've got an investment of $400 million sitting on the shelf, now you're doing the economics of when is it right to pull it out and put it on the shelf. And I think you have to look and say, it's going to lose money and we're going to lose a franchise, because they're not just looking at the $400 million for the film. Wonder Woman is a sequel. That's a prequel. That's a weirdness that has the potential to be 5 movies or 3 movies or a whole line of costumes that people will buy for Halloween.
It's a
that people
billion-dollar industry. It has a potential to be a billion-dollar film. I mean, the last Wonder Woman didn't quite hit $1 billion. I think it was $900 million. But I mean, it has the potential. It's a property. It's an intellectual property that people are familiar with. People know. People love Wonder Woman. And now we live in a day and age where Wonder Woman, in some cases, is more popular and more accepted than a Superman or a Batman. So this has and the toys. We haven't even started talking about the toy sales yet. The opportunities for this film and this franchise are enormous. So, like, how is the studio going to handle something like that?
Well, I think that's when you say the economics say put it on the shelf. It's not going to lose its value. We had success with the first one was amazing. People loved it. They wanted to wear the costumes. They wanted to be part of it. They wanted the toys. I'm going to set it on the shelf and hope that we can keep that energy up. And I got to tell you, pushing the date back raises the stakes a little, puts it in the popular eye. People are talking about it, and they're building a little hope. Maybe in December, I'll feel more comfortable about going out and seeing the movie. I don't feel comfortable right now. Obviously, Tenet is proving that for most people, but maybe I'll feel a little better. Don't push my Dune. Please don't push my Dune. I really want to see Dune. Please don't push the Dune.
Now, that actually raises an interesting question, because if you, oh man, I had the question on the forefront of my brain, and I started that sentence, and it just fizzled away. It was something to do with the longer we let the film sit on the shelf, when does the value start to when does the financial aspect, like,
well, Micah,
you have to pay the money back at some point, right?
You do have to pay the money back, but I think investors in general can appreciate that we lose our stake, right? We're going to lose our stake if we only get 150,000 on a 400,000 investment. So they're looking at that. The other side of that is competition.
Yeah.
who is my competition? And if they're making good movies and they're in the wings, am I going to be going head to head with another blockbuster that has the potential to do better than me? And is it going to take away from my series or my Wonder Woman
It's true.
84 and crush me at
It's
the box
true.
office? And then we become uh, Close Encounters of the Third Kind to Star Wars.
Yeah, that was
We come out at the
unfortunate.
same time.
Unfortunate.
We're both science fiction movies, and we come out, and this little Star Wars film just takes the box office, and nobody hears of Close
Yeah.
Encounters of the Third Kind except as oh, it was a really good film. It was well made. That director's going to be really good someday.
That little Jaws movie you did, yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
one-off.
He'll he'll,
Mm,
he'll find his
yeah,
way.
it's fine.
I think of Duel. I think his first movie I saw was
I think that
Duel.
was the first major motion picture he made. I
Oh
think that
wow.
was his
Oh, I
first
was
one.
there at the
Yeah,
beginning. I'm
yeah.
old. I'm
And
old.
then what? Jaws. I think Jaws was number 2. Close Encounters number 3, and so on and so on. And you can track the whole Steven Spielberg career himself. Question is, guys, what do you think of Wonder Woman 84 being pushed back to Christmas? Do you think this is a smart move on Warner Brothers' behalf, or do you think they're being overly cautious? Do you think that there's nothing to worry about? Some people in the world actually think there's nothing to worry about. Are you one of those people? I'm interested. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts, and let's start this discussion. All right, guys, let's move on to our last and final email. Last and final? Man,
Oh
I love being
no.
redundant. I am the king of redundancy. I also work for the Department of Redundancy department, in case you didn't know. Our last